What if your calendar did more than just tell you it's Monday? What if it could actually tell you the unique cosmic energy of the day? A tool not just for scheduling your life, but for really understanding it. Well, today, we're going to dive into exactly that, the Panchang, an ancient Vedic almanac that works like a cosmic clock.
So to really get a feel for the Panchang's power, you have to imagine a time before smartphones, before the internet, even before perfectly synchronized clocks. How did an entire subcontinent manage to move in unison for huge events? How did they pull that off? And this really gets to the heart of it. Think about it. Massive festivals like the Kumbh Mela with millions of people were all perfectly synchronized across these vast distances. The secret weapon that made it all possible? It was the Panchang, a simple, accessible little almanac that you could find in almost every single home. And this wasn't just for priests or fancy scholars. This was for everybody. Farmers used it to figure out when to plant their crops. Families used it to pick the right dates for weddings. The Panchang gave a shared rhythm to daily life, connecting everyone to the very same cosmic clock.
Okay, and this is where you really see the huge difference in perspective. Our Gregorian calendar, it's super useful, right? But it's purely functional. It just tells you, hey, it's June 2nd. The Panchang, though, it adds this whole other layer of quality. It doesn't just say it's Wednesday, it says it's Ashtami Tithi on a Wednesday, a specific combination with its own unique energy. It gives the day a distinct flavor. So what is this cosmic clock actually made of? Let's break it down. And you'll see, the system is actually beautiful and pretty simple in its structure.
The name itself is the biggest clue. Panchang literally means 5 limbs. And that tells us that in this Vedic view, time isn't just some straight line. It's more like a living thing, with 5 distinct parts that all work together to define the quality of any given moment. And here they are, the 5 limbs. Now, Tithi, the lunar day, and Var, the weekday, those are probably going to feel the most familiar. We'll dive into them first. The other 3, Nakshatra, Yoga, and Karn, they get into constellations and these really specific solar-lunar alignments. Just seeing them all laid out like this, you start to get a sense of the incredible depth of this system.
All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of how this actually works. We're going to start with the Tithi, or the lunar day. This is really the heart of the Panchang's daily calculation.
So, unlike our 24-hour day, which is based on the Earth spinning, a Tithi has nothing to do with that. Instead, it's based entirely on the relationship between the sun and the moon. It's basically just a measure of the angles separating them as we see them from here on Earth.
And this is the magic number. Every single time the moon moves exactly 12 degrees away from the sun, a new Tithi begins. It's that simple. This just keeps repeating 30 times to make a full lunar month. 15 Tithis as the moon is waxing, and 15 as it's waning.
So what's the point of all this? Well, this is where that astronomical data becomes real. The Panchang tells you that when the 8th lunar day, called Ashtami, happens to fall on a Wednesday, it creates a very specific energy, one that's considered just perfect for worshiping the goddess Bhadrakali. You start to see how these cosmic patterns connect directly to life.
Okay, so let's shift gears to the Var, or the weekday. This is something we totally take for granted. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but have you ever just stopped and asked, why are they in that exact order? I mean, it seems completely random, doesn't it? Well, there's actually a profound and very cool logic behind it.
Here's the brilliant answer. The Vedic system takes the 7 classical planets and arranges them by how fast they appear to move in the sky, from the slowest, Saturn, to the fastest, the Moon. Then, each hour of the day is assigned a planet in that repeating sequence. But here's the kicker. Whichever planet rules the very first hour at sunrise gets to name the entire day. And that is what gives us the universal, unchanging order of the week we still use all over the world today. Pretty cool, right?
So, we've covered the lunar day and the weekday. But that's really just scratching the surface. The Panchang goes way deeper, mapping our connection to the stars in much, much greater detail. If the Tithi is all about that sun-moon relationship, the next limb, the nakshatra, is all about the moon's journey against the backdrop of the stars. This adds another incredibly rich layer of information and meaning to each day. So just imagine the entire 360-degree path the moon takes across the sky. The Vedic astronomers divided that path into 27 equal sections or constellations, and they called them nakshatras. So whichever nakshatra the moon is passing through on a given day is said to really influence the subtle energy, or that flavor, of the day. And that brings us to the last couple of limbs.
Now, yoga here isn't about physical poses. It's another astronomical calculation between the sun and moon that hints at the day's underlying energy, like whether things might feel more harmonious or maybe a bit challenging. And Quran is an even finer slice of time, dividing each tithi in half for super subtle detail. All 5 of these elements come together to create this complete, multi-layered profile for every single moment.
So, what does this all add up to? The big takeaway is this. The Panchang was never meant to be just a schedule. By paying attention to these cosmic rhythms, the phase of the moon, the planet ruling the day, the constellation it's in, you start to see patterns. It becomes a daily practice of mindfulness, a tool for really increasing your own self-awareness and aligning what you do with the natural flow of the universe.
So in the end, the Panchang really leaves us with this powerful question. We all use calendars to organize our future and remember our past. But what if that same calendar could help you understand the very nature of the present moment? What if it didn't just tell you when you are, but actually explained what kind of time you're in? That's the real power of this cosmic clock.